If you're a meditation teacher or coach on Insight Timer and you're wanting to do your first live event, or you've gone live a bunch and you're just wanting to figure out how do you do it better, get more engagement, get more donations, get more discoverability, this video is for you. Insight Timer Live is still the best way for new and old teachers to grow their following on the app and attract people to your work. In this video, I'm going to break down how I structure my live events to optimize for discoverability, engagement, and donations. And I'm also going to break down the new feature that Insight Timer just added to the live events called Promotional cards and how I'm thinking about using them. Before we get into it, if you're new to me or my channel, my name is Lou Redman. I've been on Insight Timer since 2016. I have over 2 million plays on my tracks, 75,000 students in my courses. I've netted over $200,000 in revenue from Insight Timer, and I've been going live since it started in 2020. Before I get into it, know that everything I'm about to say, you can do the opposite of and still have massive success. We're talking about a creative process. So there's no right way to do a live, but I hope the things that I have to share can at least give you some ideas that you can think of and try out in your own events. The first thing I want to talk about is theming your Insight Timer lives. This is the biggest marketing that you get to do for your event is in how you title it. And it's important to spend some time thinking about your title. Who is it attracting? What is it promising to deliver on? If you can have a theme that is clear, delivering a transformation to a specific type of person, especially if you're starting out, this is going to attract people to sign up to RSVP or to stay in the live. You are going to get people joining your live event just because they're scrolling through and seeing what's there. They might scroll through, see what's there, see the title of the live, and automatically say, this is for me or this is not for me. And then they're going to go over to the next live. So think about, is your title promising and delivering a transformation, right? Transforming your relationship with others. Example, having anxiety around relationships in my life, and your live event comes up and says transforming your relationships, I'm going to be interested in joining that live. And the third note on theming is thinking about theming your lives in a way that connect to a course that you have on Insight Timer. My friend Charles Freelide does this beautifully. He has his course, Tao Te Ching Mastery, and every week he goes live with a different theme from the course. And he has his own way of structuring that meditation, but it's a way for people who are interested in the Tao or maybe newer people to Charles to then learn about what he's about, what this course is about, and then if they want to go deeper, they can then take the course. And if they wanted to go deeper, they would then find Charles and see what other things he has off the app. Again, it's delivering a transformative experience that allow people to want more of what you have to share. They're going to find more in Insight Timer. And then, of course, if they're ready, they can find you off of Insight Timer. But focusing on the quality of your events is going to help this process grow. The last thing I'll say about theming is that you can circle around a few core concepts. You might think of these as your content pillars. What are the core things that you love talking about? And how can you just circle around those themes? Because I'm imagining if those are your core themes, then you can point people to courses that you have around those themes. For example, my friend Saqib Rizvi, he does this really well where he has a few different themes where he's talking about multiple times a week. He circles through Carl Jung, mysticism, Egyptian mysticism, things like this, and it aligns with some of his courses. For example, he has a shadow work course. So when he's always talking about Carl Jung and his philosophy on the shadow, he's able to attract new people that might be interested. And then, of course, they can go on to courses if they would like. So let's do a little assessment on the themes that some people have came up with on Insight Timer, and I'll just give some feedback. So You can see new moon being a theme happening tomorrow. So a lot of teachers are leaning into that, which is always great to connect yourself with something that's happening that day. Like whether you have an Easter meditation, if it's Easter, whether it's a different holiday, theming on the day is always going to be good practice. Now, here's an example of someone that I think could have a more specific theme that might be losing people getting interested in her work. So Sasha Stewart, who's been around for a while, she has a weekly meditation circle that is being promoted. Now, Insight Timer is a meditation app where there's thousands and thousands of meditation opportunities. It's not really saying much, but it's not really giving me a good understanding of who Sasha is, what it is about. I might click in on it, but Sasha might be someone who just does the same thing each week, weekly meditation circle, and that works for some. But what I find with people doing that is they tend to only get the same people each week, which is great, but it becomes harder to get new people to your work, which I think is a big part of the benefit of Insight Timer Live. Okay, moving on to structuring your Insight Timer Live. Now, the benefit, the beauty of Insight Timer Live is that anything goes, that you literally can do anything, and people do everything. And I think with that, it's easy to set yourself apart if you actually prepare and have a little bit more intention with your Insight Timer Live. Don't get me wrong, it could be fun to just hop on, chat with people, hang out. That's totally cool. But when you're talking about growing your audience and growing people that are actually going to want to go deeper with you, having some intention here is important. And the way that I want you to think about it is, if I were to tell you tomorrow you have a class that you're going to teach in front of 50 people in person at your local studio or event center, what would you do? Would you just meander and show up wearing anything, just feeling like, well, whatever is going to be there, whatever the spirit's moving through? Maybe you are tapped into that. I honor you if that's you, but you'll probably have a sense and the structure of what you want to do in that class, because there's going to be 50 people. You're going to feel their energy. That's what's happening on Insight Timer Live. There are more than 50 sometimes up to 300, 400, 500. If you're David Gandelman, you have like 10,000 people on your live events. But thinking about that, if they were in this room, having some intention with the structure. Another litmus test to ask is, if I were to take the recording of your Insight Timer Live and do some minor editing, could I easily upload it as a track? And if it's no, it's probably because you're meandering and there's not really a clear point or focus. And so this is how I think about my lives. I don't want to do more work than is necessary. So if I'm thinking of a new track for Insight Timer, why not do it as a live and do some practice? Sometimes I will record it and just upload it and get it edited. Oftentimes, though, I'll want to do it again and just tighten it a little bit on my own recording. It's still doing the same work. So important to just make sure that you have some intention with what you're structuring. Before we go further, let's do a quick example of these new promotional cards and how I'm thinking about using them. So I have a live coming up called Love Poems from God. And in that live, I'm going to share some poems that I also share in a course that I have on living the prayer of St. Francis. And so I'm going to want to have that course ready to be shared. And so I haven't added it to my promotional cards. These are only have these 4 added right now. So I'm going to add a promotional card. I am going to go to courses and I'm going to find my course, Living the Prayer of St. Francis. I am going to add it. And then that should be ready for me to go when I go live. What it will look like is in here. So the promotional cards will be here in this little cart bucket. I will have a better video on to go live, but when I'm ready to share that card, I will go here, I will find it, and I will post card, and that's going to show up for people to then subscribe or save if they want. Now, in the rest of this video, I'm going to show you exactly at what points during the live event I'm going to use these promotional cards, so stay tuned. So now that you've got the promotional cards set up, you're about to go live, and I'm going to take you through my whole structure as if we were on a live event and what I'm thinking in the background. So before I actually hit start live, I always like to do just a little bit of my own meditation to center myself. I do a little prayer. It sounds something like, God, may whoever is meant to show up to this live, may they show up, may I have whatever they might need to hear, may it come through me. So just some sort of energy to open up to the synchronicity of the moment, that here I am, here to serve, and let me trust that the divine is going to bring the other people into this space that might need to hear it. So I just always love starting with that. And then hit start live. You feel some of the nervous energy and you begin. People start trickling in, they say hi. I always like to just welcome people and encourage them to say hi. Many people will say where they're from. This is natural thing when starting to get connected with anyone, whether it was in real life or online. And I would invite you to think of what are some fun ways that you can create some engagement, because it's that little bit of like that awkward time in the beginning where you don't want to quite start because people are still coming in, and there's just this kind of awkwardness, that creating some engagement for the people who are there to allow some more people to trickle in so that your message, your class is being received by the most people. So some fun ways that I've done more engagement is asking people on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? And just simple, they can share a number and I can catch a vibe of the room. My friend Charles Freeli, he said he does this that I really love, is he just has people share an emoji about how they're feeling. I recently asked people to share, what's your favorite emoji? And just kind of a fun way, again, to keep engagement and allow others to jump into the room. Last question I might offer is, what's your favorite room in your house and why? And so keep it fun, make it your own creative question, and don't go too far on this. You don't want to start spending 10 minutes just asking these kind of engagement questions. I would say the way I think about it is 3 minutes tops. I want to be respectful of people's time and really get to the heart of what I'm there to share. I don't want people to have to meander for 10 minutes just to allow, people that were late to it to come and then start. So honor people's time. As I start transitioning from the opening engagement to the beginning, I'll always lay out what to expect for today. I will tell people, I'm going to start today, I'm going to share a little bit talk on the theme that we discussed. I'll name the theme often. We're going to then go into a meditation, and afterwards I'm going to have time for a Q&A and just to hang out. So I set an expectation of what people can expect if they stay. I try to tell them, hey, we're going to meditate until about this time, and if you have to go, no worries. So I'm just trying to create a little bit of a container, because when we have a container, people feel safer. People feel like they can surrender more into the space, even though this is a weird virtual space where you're not seeing them. So expectations is helpful, I believe. And then I go into talking about whatever the theme I picked is, typically for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how many things come that riff. I do have a prepared, not a whole script, but I have written a little bit on this, and then I might look to my notes, or there might be different ideas that pop up as I'm talking. So I'll just kind of roll with that in the beginning. So as I transition from the talk to the meditation, this is where I'm going to do a little bit of a pause and ask for donations for the first time. And it's super relaxed, just something like, hey, thank you anyone here who feels called to bless this work with the donation. It's really appreciated. So thank you so much for sharing that if you feel called and are able to. And after that, this is a great time to share one or a few promotional cards. And I suggest starting with the simplest yes. The simplest yes is for people to click follow. That you have a bunch of potentially new people in this live event now. You share your profile and say, hey, before we get into it, here, if you're not following me, make sure you click follow, where you can get updated on new tracks and meditations that I put out. And you can also then go into maybe just one other potential offer, like, hey, if you're not able to make it to the end, I have this course on this thing that maybe you can, if this calls to you, if you're not able to finish this meditation, we go deeper into this on this course. So maybe save this course for later and you can take it. I would not do donations yet. You haven't really done your class yet, and to just put like a $3, $5, $300 thing yet, it's a little presumptuous, I think, and I would just wait for the donation card to the end. My opinion, do whatever you want. After you have done the promotional cards, now it's transitioning into the core of your meditation. So however long that is, 10, 20, 30 minutes. If you need support on creating your meditation script, you can check out a YouTube video I have on how to prepare for a meditation class. I will link that in the description. Or you can sign up for my free course, Meditation Script Mastery, that's going to help you develop meditation scripts that really move people. So I'm trusting you have that support or you have that skill already. And if you don't, go check out those free resources below. Okay. You just finished your meditation, people are coming out, and this is where we're shifting into post-class energy, where it's a little bit looser. And the way that I like to just start opening up dialogue is know a specific question that someone can answer based on the meditation that you just did. So if it was a meditation on overcoming fears, you might ask a question, what was the fear that you identified right now? And just to create some conversation around people having their experience and they're able to process it. You could just make it general, like what came up for you or what do you want to share? So some question that I will maybe write in the chat, but typically we'll just ask online and see, it's just starting this dialogue with people. And then pretty shortly after you ask the question, this is where I'll make the strongest donation ask of like, hey, thank you so much again for being here. If you got value out of it, if you enjoyed this time, it takes energy to put this work out there and your donations are really appreciated. This is probably a good time to use the donation promotional card, throw it up there, have people tap it, and then maybe take it off because again, you want to then invite people into another course that they can go deeper with you on this topic. So after the donations, I encourage you to make another plug for people to go deeper with you, whether it's through premium content, a free track, or a course. And to do this shortly, because again, people are going to be jumping off of it after you have them come out. And so you'll say, hey, I'm going to hang out for a Q&A a little bit. Again, thank you for donations. And as people donate, make sure you're naming them and saying, hey, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, whoever, for your donation. So definitely just naming them as they do it. And then, I'm going to hang out for a little bit in a Q&A. But before, if you guys really like this practice, again, I encourage you to follow me on the app because I'll be recording this practice and uploading it to Insight Timer so you can do it again. And I have a course on 10 tools for healing and transformation where this is day 4 of the course and we go really deeper into it. So go check out that course. And this is where if you have that course promotional tab, you throw that up in the promotional cards, put it on there, and then you're just hanging. Then you've made it to the end. And at that point, I just relax and I just say, hey, what do you want to talk about? Asking questions and just make it fun. And I'll hang out till people keep bringing stuff up. I'll be in engagement. And as I do that, I'm also noting different pieces of content that I have on Insight Timer that I can point people to. I might be like, oh yeah, you know what? I have a meditation on that. Or, people always do this meditation, but they forget about this meditation that I have. And I always encourage people to go through my tracks and find something that calls to you. And so this is just a time for me to just keep building connection, hang out, super fun, post-class vibes. There's nothing better than that. It's like the reward for the work of preparing. That's pretty much how I structure most of my Insight Timer live events. There are some exceptions where I'm not doing as clear of a structure. And again, you could do a completely different structure. You could have no structure at all, have the best Insight Timer live. This is not the end all be all rules. The biggest thing that I want for you is for you to tap into your own creative spirit and bring that to anything that you put out on Insight Timer or in the world. Live events are just a great place to do that. One last thing I'll say that needs to be said is you can quickly set yourself apart on Insight Timer Live just by getting a good camera. I use a Sony ZV-1 to have a 4K resolution and also a microphone. Now, it could work fine with just your earpods or just using your computer camera or a phone, but again, it might be the difference of people jumping into your live. If you have really poor quality, if you're like too close to the screen, people might just be like, this is just off-putting. They might not even give you a chance. So if you just want a foundation, make it better, invest in a better quality camera, have your backlights, have a background that is inviting. This is just video 101, and it's surprising how many people on Insight Timer don't actually just take the extra time to set a good background and visual experience. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what surprised you in the comments below, how you do your lives, how you do it that's different than mine, and maybe are crushing it. I want to hear from you in the comments. Like and subscribe if you're not to the channel. And again, if you're wanting support on developing unique meditations that are powerful, that bring more people to your work, that make people want to go deeper and become clients, check out my free course, Meditation Script Mastery, in the description below. I would love to support you in crafting and creating powerful meditations. Chat soon.